Hello and welcome to Travel Radio Podcast. I am your host, Megan Chapa, and today I'm privileged to have a return guest and an expert actually living in Mexico at this very moment. So, welcome back to the program, Laurie Gold.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Yeah, of course. And, your episode, the last one was really well received. It's just taking off on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, please go ahead and check it out. It is on the Atelier. Is that how you say it? Atelier.
Yeah, sure. Something like that.
What do you say?
Well, atelier or I'm not
Atelier?
really sure. Atelier, I don't know.
Anyway.
Whatever it is, it's a great resort.
It's a luxury all-inclusive resort. Yeah, and we reviewed it and talked about their policies and how they're doing during the time of COVID, and also highlight and feature that is where Laurie recently was married. So that's exciting. When she makes the recommendation, she means it. That's good. So Laurie, would you take a moment to introduce yourself to people who didn't hear the last episode and what you do in the travel world?
Sure. So, as Megan said, I live in Mexico. I think last month was my 5-year anniversary of moving here. And I'm from Toronto, Canada. And I'm a travel agent. It's been almost 14 years. And I do book the world, but I specialize in this destination that I live in, the Riviera Maya.
That's awesome. Yeah, so how about, well, first off, for people that are listening, this is also a video version with some pretty amazing pictures that Lori took herself. So if you'd like to check it out, it's, simply search Travel Radio Podcast on YouTube, you'll find it, or wherever you're watching. If there's a link, just click the link and you'll see the link for the YouTube channel. So that's how you can find us. But Laura, where are we going today?
Today we are going on a road trip through mainly the Yucatan State.
Yeah, and you wrote not to be confused with.
Not to be confused. What did I say?
Did you write Yucatan State different than Yucatan?
Oh, different than the Yucatan Peninsula. Yeah, I mean this whole like destination, including Quintana Roo, which is where the Riviera Maya, Cancun, Tulum, and then also the Yucatan State, like Merida and Valladolid, and all the other places that we're going to go. All that is really considered the peninsula, but the Yucatan State is actually a different state. It's actually a time difference too,
Oh,
than the Riviera Maya, where that is located. So yeah.
okay. That is really useful information. I did not realize that.
Mhm.
So that's good to know that
Yeah.
we have a time zone change there. So if you see me looking to my side, I have my phone with my notes pulled up. So I
Sure.
apologize if I just look off for a moment. But today we're going to talk, about your top 5 road trip destinations. And I think, this is part of the Culture Vulture Mexico. Let's get inland. Let's get off resort property a little bit. Let's explore the richness of this, country. It's amazing. And I want to talk about, because since you live there, you get to do a lot of the driving. And, I don't think the average resort or vacationer to Mexico thinks about road tripping. So can you
For sure.
set some expectations for us for driving in Mexico? Because like people get a little bit paralyzed when they think about driving in, say, England. But can you give us some expectations for Mexico?
I mean, it's pretty much the same as Canada and the US, it is kilometers. I
Okay.
think that the thing in Mexico is, I think it's a lot easier to get a driver's license. So, um, you have to be careful of that. A lot of the times on this road trip and any other road trip, you end up in 2 lane, like 1 lane in each direction. So you have to be really good at passing people because there are a lot of, trucks that are slow and just people that are slow. So that can be a challenge if you're not used to that, because most places, have at least 2 lanes, if not more, on highways. And sometimes here we only
Sure.
have 1 lane. The signs are in Spanish, but they don't have a lot of signs. It's mainly just the place that you're going. So
Point
those
and go.
would be the same. um, but other than that, it's a pretty easy experience. There's a lot of things that you have to look out for, though. That are different. And I just was on a road trip this past weekend, and I noticed it again. I said in Canada and the U.S., like this would never happen. There's no service centers. Like it's almost impossible to find a gas station, if not
Oh,
impossible, in a lot of routes. So you always have to have a full tank of gas. Like wherever you see one, fill up because you're not going to see one for a long time.
okay.
A lot of the time there's no reception either, no cell phone reception. So I always like put on my Google Maps right when I leave the house. And even if I think I know where I'm going, I just keep it on, the whole time. Because even if there's no reception, it'll still continue,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you don't have to worry about having to start it in the middle and then you're in the middle of nowhere, you don't know where you are, and you
Yeah.
can't get it to load again. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
um so that's important. There's also, I mean, there's toll roads and then there's free. I always take toll roads. They're in better condition and save time usually. But the tolls are, you have to have cash and you have to pay in pesos.
Ah,
And on not on this road trip, but on another one, the people in front of us were stuck. They had nothing, so we paid for them. But not everyone
ah,
would, do that for somebody else, right? So
sure.
um, that's something to really be aware of.
Wow. Okay, that's good to know. And then as far as, just the mechanics of it, are we driving on the left? Are we driving on the right? What should
Yeah,
people?
on the right, like the same as home.
Okay.
The thing is in Mexico that they have speed bumps they call topes, and they really pop up out of nowhere. So you kind of have to be aware. Like there's sometimes signs, sometimes not. They're kind of like, you know, not in the best conditions sometimes, so you don't really know what the sign is for.
Okay.
Things like that. So that's something that that's important to look out for. But other than that, it's pretty simple, I guess.
Okay. So what about some, just off the top of your head, like what are some signs that we should be aware of? Stop, slow, like give us some.
They don't really have those. I mean, even stop signs, unless you're like in a city, they're pretty voluntary, it seems, and especially most of these places, like you're on the highway, so it's just that to really be aware because there'll be, this past road trip that we went on this weekend, the one lane highways became like no lane highway, or it was like at some points it was two lanes going each direction, and then they're doing construction, so they put everyone on one side. So there's not really a warning for that. In Canada or the US they probably have like warning like before. I mean, sometimes they might, but for the most part, like you just have to really be aware,
Oh man,
at all
it's an
times.
adventure.
It
It's an
is, yeah.
adventure. Okay, so
And also one more thing, sorry.
yes, no,
The
please.
speed limit changes kind of quickly, so but it's also not really that respected, so um it's kind of an adventure, but it does change. Like one minute it's 80 and the next minute it's 110, or it goes to 60 and then the next minute it's 90, and you just have to roll with it pretty much.
So have you been pulled over?
No, never.
Do you think people get pulled over frequently, or that's just like cops have other things to do?
You know what? There are checkpoints along the way. The thing in Mexico is that police, they do, well, I should back up. Rental cars, you can tell if it's a rental car. I think it's the license plate shows it. So sometimes they do target tourists just, to get a little bit of money, or they tell you you're doing something wrong and you don't know, you don't speak Spanish, or you don't really know if you did or not. So you just pay them. It's not like every time and it's not like
Yeah,
super often, but it can happen.
yeah. Hey, it's an adventure.
Yeah.
I well, we talk about authorities that I've bribed at another time in other countries. But incentivize. It's different.
Right, for sure.
So
Let's go with that.
yeah, let's go with that. So let's talk about, there's a lot to do in this area, and I asked you to go for five just for time's sake. So let's go with, if, we'll start with number five. What is Laurie's number five destination of where you should stop in the Yucatan state?
So there's this little place called Espita, and really nobody knows about it. And I love those places that nobody knows about. And I only know about it because my friend lives there. And he only knows about it because he was on a road trip one day and stopped there, and he's like, this looks cool. Maybe I'll move here. And he did.
You did.
And and it's really like a just a safe little small town in the Yucatan. There's nothing super special about it, but there is a brand new hotel that is amazing. I mean, it looks like it should be in Tulum or somewhere way more popular. The pool is like gorgeous, and the rooms were great, and the food was amazing. Like they have a really top chef there, and it was just a really cool place to stop. And it's sort of in a central location. Like you can do a bunch of day trips from there. And because the town is so like off the map, everything's really inexpensive, and like you could do, a cooking class or a baking class for like nothing,
Yeah.
literally like maybe $5 or $10 or something like that, because it's just not a tourism place. They don't have any tourism. So it's kind of a neat little place to stop.
That's a good tip. What's the name of it again?
Espita.
Espita. All right, it's a good tip. All right, the next one is going to come with a picture, but actually, we're gonna pop onto your website real quick because I know the order of the slides, and I should have showed your website before. So we're just going to bring up your website real quick
Right? Sounds
because
good.
and while we're on your website, do you I know that you are a resource for other travel professionals. They are always asking and you about everything, and they should be going to your group instead. But I know that you're a resource for them already. The next question is, are you taking more clients? I know that you're a busy lady, but are you taking more clients at this time?
Yes, at this time for sure. Yep.
Okay, great. So here is Laurie's webpage, and that is Explore More Travel Co. And it's going to come across the bottom of the screen. Okay, back to Laurie, and we're going to get to Laurie's pictures now. All right, Laurie, coming in at number 4, where are we now?
This is Ekbalum, and it's one of the Mayan ruins in the destination. So most people have heard of the more popular ones or go to the more popular ones like Tulum or Chichen Itza or Koba. And this one's not that much further. And it was really quiet. It's one of the few pyramids that you can still climb, and it is a climb. I mean, it's really steep, really high, really scary, but the view is amazing and really
Okay.
cool. It's definitely one of my favorites, if not favorite, ruins that I've been to. And then also on the property, they have this beautiful cenote, and you can bike there. And it's really not a long bike ride, maybe 20 minutes or 15 minutes or so, but it's really cool to do that after you do the ruins. And it's, of course, really hot usually, but at this time of year, it's like 100
Wow.
Fahrenheit. Yeah, in this state, I mean, or more. It's really, really hot. So it's nice to be able to go to the cenote and cool down after.
Yeah, I mean, is it clear? I can see at the edges it looks clear. Are we looking at tree roots?
It is, yeah, yeah, exactly. It's really clear.
Wow, these cenotes amaze me. They're really cool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, so cool. All right, so anything else on Ekbalam?
No, just add it to your list.
Add it to your list. All right, here we go. San Felipe.
Yeah, so Rio Lagartos and San Felipe is the next spot, and it's hard to really explain what it is, but it's sort of like it's not a river; it's attached to the ocean, um, but it's protected, and you go on like the thing to do there is a boat tour,
Mm.
and there's different things that you see and do on that tour. And one of them is, as you can see in this picture, I did the Mayan Mud Bath. So the guide gets out right there, like across from where I'm sitting, and gets some mud there, some Mayan mud, I guess. And you put it all over your body, and it makes you really soft.
Yeah, it looks like a purifying mask that I've paid a lot of money for, and
Oh,
you just
exactly. Yeah,
dug it out of the riverbed or whatever. That's awesome.
exactly.
Okay, what's this picture
And
of?
that is San Felipe, and it's pretty close, and it's just a fishing village that's near Rio Lagartos, and I mean there is nothing there. Like it's the smallest, cutest little place I've ever seen, and just one restaurant like that serves fresh fish, whatever you want, a million different options. And we went also to an island that's near there that's like a bird nesting island with tons of different species of birds, like thousands of, I mean hundreds of thousands of birds. It was really cool. So that's San Felipe.
Awesome. All right, where are we now?
And that is in Rio Lagartos. We saw a lot of, I think they are crocodiles. I
So are we
think
still in 2 or we've
we're
now
still in,
moved to 3?
no, we're still on three. We're in Rio Lagartos and San Felipe. It's the same area.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, that's still there, and we saw a bunch of those on our tour.
They're terrifying. This is, I value my
Not aggressive.
toes. Yeah, I
There
value
are
my
some that
toes.
are aggressive. We only saw the non-aggressive ones on our tour.
That's good. I'll tell you, we were in South Carolina and my daughter was just barely 2, but like talking, walking, and just like bobbling along the boardwalk. And she was being stalked. And so my brother just snatched her up and he's like, "You look really tasty. I'm going to snatch you up." Because one was just eyeing her up right like that.
Oh my
So,
gosh. So
oh, it
scary.
gets me. Yeah. So, how about this picture?
So that's still the same place. It's near Rio Lagartos. It's called Los Colorados, and it's basically a pink lake. So that's really popular. You used to be able to get in it, but after it became popular on Instagram, they took that away. So you can just see it from either a boat tour or you can drive and actually walk closer to it, but you can no longer go inside.
Was it like detergents and things were messing with it?
Probably, yeah,
Yeah, that's what I get worried about with the cenotes is that bathing suits are
yeah.
gonna. Eh.
Well, it's more sunscreen. I think that's the issue. So you're really not supposed to wear it, but not everyone listens and not everyone knows that, right? So
Yeah. Apparently, there are reef safe options now that are a little
yes,
better. And
yeah,
so, just a PSA for people that want to swim in the cenotes get some reef safe sunscreen.
definitely. Or none,
Okay.
because they're
Or
they're
none.
dark usually. So
Oh, okay, great. Great. Okay. So, we've done five. We've done four. Oh, no,
no,
we're on
we're on four.
three.
Yeah,
We're
this
on
is number
two.
4. Yes. We're on number 2. Yeah, exactly. Valladolid. So this isn't Valladolid. Valladolid is a town, but Valladolid is somewhere that I stopped a few years ago and I was like, meh, not impressed. But then I went back and I was like, wow, I was wrong about this place. And maybe it's exploded since I was there, but it is like a mini Merida. So Merida is like the top place that people go in the Yucatan state. It's the safest place in Mexico. And this reminds me so much of it, but on a smaller scale. So cute, really like colonial streets and beautiful painted buildings of all different colors. And they have a lot of cool things there, including at night on one of their, I don't know if it's a cathedral or some type of really old building. They do a video mapping show explaining like the history of it, and
Oh,
it's really
neat.
really cool. Yeah, they
And
do that every night, I think, except Mondays or Tuesdays.
well, for people that can't see this because they're listening, we are in another cenote and we are looking at this is a picture taken from very far away, and smack dab in the middle of the picture is Lori on some kind of underwater peninsula that I have no idea how they built, but it's incredible. And the colors are just so, the blue is the bluest blue, like turquoise, and the rocks are white, the stalactites are hanging. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, so that's a really cool cenote, and it's funny you talk about the platform in the middle because all the pictures I'd seen were people standing on it, but because of the hurricanes and everything that happened last year, it's now underwater. So I had to swim there.
Oh,
So I'm not actually standing. I had to wear you have to wear a life jacket and I'm just like floating above it, trying to stand, but but I couldn't because it's pretty deep now.
wow.
So the cool thing about Valladolid is that it's surrounded by cenotes. So we spent one day just going to 6 different ones within like a 20-minute drive of the city. So there's so many cool ones that are so different in the Yucatan state and in Valladolid especially. And it's only like an hour and a half or something from Playa. So it's really not far for people who want to do a day trip and want to see something in the Yucatan state, but don't have time to go to Merida. They also have amazing food, like Yucatecan food. It's quite different, and they really do it well there. So it's really a must do, in my opinion.
That so this is so fascinating to me, but it makes sense that the hurricane brought it in. So that's how they built it. It used to be dry. It's incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but this picture, I mean, I actually think that this is a cooler picture than if it had been, you
Well, it's
standing
not
on
totally
land.
dry, but yeah, but it would still look cool. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see before and after. So that's neat.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
So this
next.
is for those who can't see. This is another cenote. That's a different kind of cenote. It's an open one, and this is one of the most popular ones. I think this is Ikkill, if I'm not mistaken, which is like a very gardeny cenote that is super famous. So just there's so many different kinds, and they're all so beautiful.
Yes, this one is has a big open, like it's in like a it's a round opening to the sky, and there are incredible vines falling down the sides. So what's it like in the bottom? Is there vegetation in the bottom, or it's deep and clear?
No, it's pretty deep. And one other thing, in the actual city of Valladolid or the town, they actually have a cenote like right in the middle, which you would never imagine in a city, like smack in the middle of the city. And
Yeah.
it's a really nice one too. And they even have a restaurant to eat in there. So
Oh.
that's a really cool thing. Yeah.
Do you find that locals also go into these, or it's just tourists?
No, they do. Yeah, I mean, it's not expensive for the most part. I mean, some of them, the more touristy ones, they charge more now, you know.
Sure.
But even like the most, I would say, is like $6 or $8. So it's not a huge expense just to get in. But the one, for example, that's in the city, it's 30 pesos, so probably about $1.50 American to get in. So they do use them just to cool down, like as it's like a natural pool, you know.
Yeah. Cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so now we are to your number one destination. And as you say it, I have friends that are there right now. And she's on your page, actually, Corrine Johnson. I don't know if you know Corrine,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, or she's probably returning from it because we were actually going to record and couldn't because she was like, I have the chance to go. I'm going. So,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Tell
Yeah,
us
no, the
about
Wi-Fi
this.
is not so good. So this is Holbox, and it's getting more and more popular. Some people still haven't heard of it. It is an island, and it's about 2 hour drive from Cancun or Playa del Carmen, and then about a 25-minute ferry or private boat. I mean, there's fishing boats that take you, and what I found out my last time was that they charge the same as the ferry. So it's kind of nice
Oh,
to be able to, whenever you get there, just hop on a boat, even though the ferry does run every half an hour, so you're never waiting too long. But Holbox is amazing.
is it
um,
a resort island or what happens there?
so it's just only boutique hotels. I mean, they're small, really small. There's really nothing more than probably 3 stories at this point, so it's really chill. It's a fisherman's island. There's no streets, it's all like sand. There's no
Okay,
cars. The cabs
that's
are,
cool.
all the transportation is like ATV, golf cart type of things, like a
Ah,
hybrid sort of, or one or the other.
yeah.
It's just very chill. Good food, beautiful beaches. You can walk out like forever, and it only goes up to your knees. People go bike riding in the ocean. It's really cool. There's not too much to do there. It's more just like chill, get away from it all. The Wi-Fi is not amazing. The cell phone reception is not perfect. And it's also really big for kiteboarding. So anyone who's a
Okay,
kiteboarder, it's huge on Holbox.
nice. And then are there family options, or this is not super family
There
friendly?
are, but to me, it's not. I mean, it's kid. The beach is super kid friendly because it's so shallow and like not wavy. And like I said, you can go out forever, but there's not a ton to do, you know. And there's not really like resorts per se. They're just more boutique hotels, so it's not the most kid friendly. And then one other thing, in the summer they have bioluminescence, so that's really cool to see. I haven't seen that yet, but I'd like to.
I've seen a couple different places we've lived, and it is cool to see. Is it an autumnal phenomenon there? Because it has been in the places that I've lived.
What does that mean?
Like in the autumn season is when it
Oh,
tends
autumn.
to.
No, no, summer. I heard.
Oh, interesting. Cool. Well,
Hmm.
I hope you get to see it. And if you
Yeah,
do, I'd love to see your pictures or videos or whatever you capture. That's
for
cool.
sure.
Hey, these are good tips. I asked you to do five, but of course, I always give my guests a moment to say whatever they want to say. So you have a time to freestyle. You can rap if you like, whatever you want. It's your time. Do some slam poetry, or you can tell us more about this area, whatever you like. It's your time.
So, I mean, like you said, I only, highlighted five, but this area, the Yucatan Peninsula, has so many cool places to see it and so many different and unique things to do. Really, you have to want to get off the beaten path and explore. Merida, like I mentioned, is the safest city in Mexico for sure, and I think it's one of the safest in North America, honestly. So that should be on everyone's bucket list. Izamal, I think, is the all yellow city. There's Mahahual. There's Bacalar, which is the Lagoon of Seven Colors. There's just so many incredible places around here that I haven't even seen everything, and I'm trying, but every time I think I have an itinerary or I'm ready, there's just so many more places I discover. It's truly never ending. So, get off the resort, get off the beaten path, and see Mexico.
Yeah, great tips. And I mean, I love that you're still, you're not in England. I say to the locals often, my friends, like, do you realize how beautiful your country is? Because you're surrounded by these old stone buildings and all this history all the time. Can you see it? And they say we do. Some people are like, yeah, we see it, and most people are like, it becomes just part of the furniture. Like you just live with it. I'm
Totally.
glad that you are still able to take it all in and be amazed by it because it does seem very remarkable. So that's good.
Yeah, every day I'm like, even driving down the highway in my area, I'm like, oh my gosh, this place is so cool.
Yeah, what a
So I hope that never
privilege
goes
to
away.
live there. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So let me ask you this question, totally unscripted. Did you meet your husband there? Has that rooted you there?
Yeah, I mean, I did meet him here, but before I met him, I don't think I necessarily had plans to leave. I mean, there's just nowhere that I'd rather be.
Oh, awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Well, Laurie, thanks for joining me again. This is amazing information. I hope it's helpful to people. I hope people reach out to you to plan their itineraries because there's so much more that you have to offer. And, as far as being in destination and the limited amount of travel days Americans and Canadians tend to have, you got to take advantage of it. And you got to start by having a good plan. So I really hope people can reach out to you. So will you give
For
us
sure.
your email and web address one more time?
Yep, Lori at twilltravel.com, and it's exploremoretravelco.com.
Okay, great. And if you go to the show notes below, wherever you're watching or listening, all of that will be in there, including these destinations. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Laurie. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that we get to record again sometime soon.
For sure. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.